Hello, everyone. Welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live on Monday and Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Options-Jug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel that I'll go through in just a moment. Just want to let everyone know that Bookmap is encouraging everyone to join Bookmap Discord. You do need a Bookmap subscription to fully participate. There is a free subscription available. Also note there are a number of Black Friday deals coming up. I'll talk more about that in just a moment. So please join me in Bookmap Discord. There are a number of benefits. You can participate in chat in the Options-Jug chat channel. Watch my stream at Discord as well as many other streams and many other chat channels. And also there are also Bookmap Discord only events like the Funded Trader webinar series last week. All right, so please join me in Bookmap Discord, and it also helps me out. So if you like this content, if you like my presentation, Bookmap isn't looking for more participation in Discord. Please join me in Bookmap Discord. All right, I mentioned Black Friday sales. There are several different deals going on beginning on Black Friday. You can go to bookmap.com/deals starting on Friday. And these, again, start on Friday and go through the month of December. A variety of deals. I can't reveal any more details right now. Just go to bookmap.com/deals for some great end-of-year sales. Here are the key tenets to my approach for trading. This is the basis of my approach for trading. I believe that options trades and market maker hedging activity are key drivers of price in many stocks and futures. And for the S&P 500, certainly the large cap tech stocks that I trade and follow, like the Mag 7 stocks, we'll see that today, as well as the equity index futures like the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100. And for the S&P 500, SPX is the underlying index. SPY is the ETF version of that index. And when ES is a derivative of SPX, the ES futures contract. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in SPX and SPY, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with ES futures. And for the NASDAQ 100, NDX is the underlying index. QQQ is the much more liquid ETF version of that index. And the NQ futures contract is a derivative of NDX. And when traders buy and sell puts and calls in NDX and QQQ, market makers take the opposite side of those trades and they hedge their delta exposure with NQ futures. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Jug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day as well as the directional bias. And the second step in my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow on Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups. And when I talk about setups today, I will be focusing on an underlying asset. Setups in that asset can be taken with future contracts, shares of stock, or options, depending on the asset and the way you like to trade. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Jug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions or comments. Please feel free to post. I'll do my best to answer your questions. And hello, Hector, Dan P., RJ, Stephen, Suresh, WRB, welcome. Glad you're here. Glad you're joining me in Discord. Thank you very much. All right, so again, questions and comments are welcome. And I will be watching the Options-Jug chat channel as well as the chat and YouTube for your questions or comments. Here's my agenda for today, Wednesday, November 27th. First of all, I want to go over news items, economic data, and events for today. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. Then I'll take a look at the live market. When I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's start with economic data and events for today. And give me just a moment. Need to drag this over to my screen here. So this was the economic data for today. So there were quite a few data releases today, economic data. First of all, durable goods orders out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Durable goods less than expected, but greater than the previous number. Jobless claims looks like in line, and GDP also in line. And that was at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Normally, PCE data also comes out at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Came out at 10 a.m. today. Didn't really have much immediate impact on the market. And PCE data was also in line. All right, so that's the economic data for today. And for the rest of the week, of course, tomorrow is the Thanksgiving holiday. Markets are closed. And then Friday is a half day. Markets close at 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. All right, so that is the economic data. Let's move on to positional analysis. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the ES Futures and Bookmap. And before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a higher time frame. I'm going to go to the SPX, underlying index. This is a 1 year, 1 day chart for SPX. Rally continues. SPX did make a new high yesterday. And that was right around 60.25, I believe. We'll take a look at that in just a moment. All right, so that is the rally continuing. New highs yesterday. Let's take a look now at a 30-day 1 hour chart. Yeah, the new high yesterday, 60.25.42. All right, so again, this is Think or Swim, 1 day, 1 hour chart. Gap up, post-election rally. Support right around 58.50. Rally resumed, made a new high yesterday, and a little bit of a pullback today. Right down, we'll see in just a minute, right down to the volatility trigger at 59.85. So the volatility trigger for SPX did hold as support today. All right, so let's take a look at these levels. First of all, the expected move for the week, shown with the dashed purple lines. May be hard to see this upper line. There are several lines clustered right around there. That is the lower and upper weekly expected move. That's based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from last Friday. The dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move, also based on the options market, based on the closing price for SPX from yesterday. I do post those levels in Discord every day the evening before. All right, so SPX did trade down below the lower daily expected move today. And we'll see where it does, get a closer look at see where it's trading in just a moment. And hello, oh boy, welcome, glad you're here. All right, so those are the expected moves. SPX trading within the weekly expected move, but did trade down below the lower daily expected move today. All right, let's take a look at the Spotgamma levels. These are based on gamma-weighted open interest. They're provided to Spotgamma subscribers. They're available on a variety of trading platforms. Again, this is Thinkorswim, a 30-day, 1-hour chart. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, the put wall has now moved down to 5,500. It moved down to 5,500 yesterday. That's a strike with a large net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. So again, that level did move down yesterday. As mentioned before, the next level up is the volatility trigger at 59.85. That is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility and gamma flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. Above that level, like SPX is trading now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. That tends to subdue or decrease volatility. And we'll take a closer look at gamma in just a few minutes to see that it is quite positive. And the proximity to the volatility trigger, I don't think really accurately reflects what the actual value of gamma. All right, so that volatility trigger did move higher from yesterday. So volatility trigger moved higher. Put wall moved lower yesterday. Next level up is 6,000. And that's just above there. Actually, let me redraw that. So 6,000 just above, that is the absolute gamma strike. That's a strike with large absolute positive and negative gamma, and that has been the absolute gamma strike for quite some time. That's definitely where most of the gamma-weighted open interest is concentrated. And then the call wall has now moved up to 6,100. That's a strike with large net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. So after a very long stay at 6,000, the call wall has now moved up to 6,100. So for SPX, the volatility trigger and call wall both moved higher. And for SPY, we'll take a look at a SPY chart in just a minute. The volatility trigger, put wall, and call wall all moved higher, so that is a bullish hat trick for SPY. Again, we'll take a look at a chart of SPY in just a minute. All right, so that is SPX, 30-day, 1-hour chart. Let's wrap up our view of SPX with a 1-minute chart. So you can see the volatility trigger here at 59.85 held a support almost to the tick. Very solid support. And then now price has returned to this cluster of levels. Absolute gamma strike at 6,000, a combo 4 level at 59.98, and the lower daily expected move just below that. All right, so that is a 1-minute chart for SPX. Key today, the concentration of price action around that cluster of levels and the support at the volatility trigger. Let's take a quick look at SPY. So we know the SPX volatility trigger was key today. Let's take a look at SPY. Also some key levels today. And for SPY, this large gamma 3 level at 601 was in play earlier today. and now price is just right down below the volatility trigger at 59.99. Remember that level did move up from yesterday. And then price did move down below the put wall briefly today, now trading back up above. All right, on to Bookmap. So in Bookmap, I'm using my own levels here so I can show SPX levels and SPY levels as well as key ES levels. So here's the volatility trigger, 59.85 volatility trigger, and there's the SPY 601 large gamma 3 level that it acted as a resistance before the cash open. Here's the SPY 600 absolute gamma strike. Note how it acted as support at the cash open and then resistance. Well, about 45 minutes later. Here's that cluster of levels that I mentioned. SPY 599 volatility trigger. And then there are a couple of combo levels down below. All right, so those are the levels in play for the S&P 500, key SPX, and SPY levels. Excuse me. Let me mark this one also. Okay. All right, note there's a difference in price between ES and SPX. And earlier today, it was right around 17. Now it looks like it's about 16 and a half. So my volatility trigger at 59.85 should be slightly lower on this chart by a couple of ticks. And note I do post the index relationships that I'm using every day in Discord. So another advantage of joining Bookmap Discord. All right, so that's the S&P 500. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ, this is the NQ futures of Bookmap. I have my own notes again, levels, so I can show NDX levels, QQQ levels, and also key NQ levels on this chart. All right, let's take a quick look at the underlying index charts. First of all, let's go to QQQ. I need to zoom out just a moment, just a bit. All right, so we're looking at the 509 volatility trigger that did act as resistance before the cash open. Then this, just after noon, the round number, the 502 level, acted as support. Now QQQ trading back to this 505 level. All right, so that's QQQ. Let's take a look at NDX. Then we'll get back to NQ and Bookmap. NDX, large gamma 4 level, acted as support, then resistance. And again, NASDAQ found support at the QQQ 502 round number level, now moving higher. All right, back to Bookmap. So again, in Bookmap, I have QQQ levels, NDX levels, and key EQ levels like the big round numbers, the zeros and the 50s. All right, so there's the resistance at the QQQ volatility trigger 509. Price still trading well below that level. and the support at the QQQ 502 level. And we'll talk about setups in a few minutes, in just a couple of minutes actually. So let's wrap up our positional analysis by taking a look at Gamma. I'm going to start by taking a look at market makers Gamma notional at the beginning of the day. So we're going to take a look at Gamma notional. Let me scroll up just a bit here. Gamma notional, market makers position on the Gamma curve at the beginning of the day. I'm going to include the Russell 2000 also. It's definitely in play now. And this is for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note all these numbers are positive in a positive Gamma environment. This indicates for an index that traders are short calls, market makers are long calls. Since the positive Gamma, they have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure. And note, especially for the S&P 500, these numbers are quite positive. Over 1 billion Gamma notional for both SPX and SPY, and much less positive for NASDAQ and the Russell 2000. And for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, those numbers did move higher from yesterday. And for the Russell 2000, they move lower. All right, let's take a look at Gamma notional right now and also earlier in the morning. So this is the current view of Gamma in the Trace tool. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers. By the way, I'm not sure I mentioned, Spotgamma is also having Black Friday deals, 80% off of a 1-month subscription. That's for Standard, Pro, or Alpha. So I believe you can subscribe to the Alpha. Stephen, here you go. You can subscribe to Alpha for the first month for $49. I believe that's the price. So if you're thinking about either Bookmap or Spotgamma or both, now's the time to jump in. All right, so this is a Gamma, market makers Gamma right now, current. You can see the very strong positive Gamma down here between 59.50 and 6,000. That's undoubtedly supporting the market. If this positive Gamma down below was not in place, the move lower today probably would have been much more extreme. And you can also see the positive Gamma here helping to support the market, the blue bars on the right. Let's just scroll back and take a quick look at Gamma notional toward the right around the cash open. We'll go back to 940. So you can see pockets of negative Gamma down below. Down below 59.50, but mostly positive Gamma. And now let's scroll through time. Watch the positive Gamma down below starting to build. So what from this chart, what that appears to be is traders are selling puts. Market makers buy the puts. Hence the positive Gamma. All right, so that's the Gamma. Looks like a positive. Let's zoom in just a little bit. So a pocket of negative Gamma up above. We'll take a look at Charm in just a few minutes to see where the SPX may pin for today. All right, so solid positive Gamma support below. There's support at the volatility trigger. And if price starts to move higher, if Hero continues to move higher, price could move quickly through that negative gamma zone up above. All right, so that's the current picture of gamma. Also note the stability index is fairly high at 79%. All right, let's move on now. So my thesis for today was I was looking for lower volatility based on the high positive gamma notional, the gamma shown on the trace tool here, and the higher Spotgamma gamma index, as well as the higher stability index. And so far that has proven to be the case. All right, so let's move on now to execution. So I'm going to take a look at, start with the S&P 500, take a look at what options traders are doing. And hello, Mirage, welcome, glad you're here. All right, so moving on now to execution, starting with the S&P 500, starting with what options traders are doing today. This is the Hero tool, Hedging Impact Real-Time Options. This is available to Spotgamma subscribers and that alpha subscription that I mentioned before. And what this chart is showing is options trades and market maker hedging activity for these index components. Combined signal for SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. So this is the index signal. There are two lines on this chart. White line is price for SPX. The purple line is the Hero signal. A falling Hero signal indicates traders are taking negative delta positions. They're buying puts and or selling calls. And a rising Hero signal indicates they are taking positive delta positions. They are buying calls and or selling puts. All right, so that's the index signal. And there's another signal that we can take a look at for the S&P 500. And that is the equity signal. So again, white line is price for SPX and the purple line is the Hero signal. And in this case, it's a Hero signal for all 500 stocks in the S&P 500 index. Let's zoom in now, go to full screen. And we can compare the two signals. So this is the equity signal. And you can see from the open, traders were taking negative delta positions. Price moved up. Just after 9:45, started to move lower. So in this case, the SP equity signal was providing a leading indicator. Let's take a look at the SP 500 signal, the index signal. Zoom in again. And the index signal made a couple of peaks. This one also right around 9:45 made lower highs. The equity signal in the morning was a little bit more clear, but both were going down, both pointing down starting around 9:45. Switch over to puts and calls. Go to the equity signal. So you can see it's a little bit more clear in the equity signal that traders were buying puts and selling calls. Puts shown with the blue line and the orange line showing calls. Blue line, orange line moving down in the same direction. That's a very bearish signal. All right, let's go to Bookmap. So we know that price reversed lower right around 9:45, 9:50. Back to the S&P 500. Zoom in. All right, so we already know the 601 large gamma 1 level acted as resistance. Price started trading under VWAP right around 10 a.m. We already know by that time that both the SP equities and index signals were both pointing lower. And note cumulative volume delta, that's this magenta line here in the subchart. That was falling starting about 9:45. And then as price started to move lower, sell stop orders shown by the yellow line started to fuel the move lower. And there were plenty of targets down below. Large traders were fading this with iceberg orders. Very typical behavior. Large traders buying weakness with iceberg orders they use to hide their size. That's shown by the rising light blue line. And we'll see a difference in large trader behavior in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ in just a moment. All right, so move lower, really led by options traders, shown by the hero signals for the index, S&P 500 index, and equities, and also cumulative volume delta falling. Until finally finding support at the, again at the volatility trigger at 59.85. That was also noted as a support level in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. All right, let's move on to NASDAQ now. Oh, let's take a look at one other thing before we move on. Go back to, let's take a look at, there are 3 trace tools available. We've looked at gamma. Let's take a look at delta pressure. I'm going to go back to right around 9. Sometimes it takes a few minutes for this to become apparent. Let's go to 950. So you can see in 950, red selling pressure above. That's what this chart is showing. Very simple. Red selling pressure above. Blue buying support below. And you can see SPX was up in that red selling pressure zone. So let's step through time again. All right, so the red selling pressure zone is moving lower. And now, right around 1040, SPX moves down below 6,000, some buying support there. Back up closer to selling pressure. There you go, selling pressure 1140. Price moves down again. Note the next level down below is that's called the hedge wall there. It's actually the volatility trigger. Price finds support at the volatility trigger. Hero, that purple line, is starting to shift up. Now you can see some buying support coming in. Some resistance at the 6,000 key gamma strike, absolute gamma strike. All right, so now we're back to real time. One thing we can take away from this is the contour lines are sloping lower. Now it looks like SPX is in somewhat of a neutral zone, but a little bit closer to selling pressure. All right, let's move on. Let's go back to, so that's the S&P 500. Reversal higher. You can see right around 1210. There's the hedge wall. At that point, traders start selling puts. This is the equity signal. They start selling puts. A few minutes later, they start buying calls again. Let's check the index signal. Also right at 1210 at the 59.85 hedge wall, volatility trigger. Traders start buying calls, selling puts. Price moves higher. Blue line, orange line moving in the same direction. In this case, they're moving up, and price is moving higher. Back up into what looks like maybe potential selling zone above, and right at the key gamma strike, absolute gamma strike. So let's go back to Bookmap. All right, so now SPX right in this cluster of levels, right at the SPY 599 volatility trigger, 6,000 absolute gamma strike just below that. Let's move on to NASDAQ. Again, pre-market resistance at a key ETF level, in this case the 509 volatility trigger. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go back to Hero. Note trace only applies to SPX right now. So we'll just have Hero. Let me shift back to total. Very choppy signal on the NASDAQ index signal, showing QQQ and NDX. This is the MAG 7 signal. I'm going to shift back to puts and calls. Have to jump back. Oops, I deleted the MAG 7. Oops. Have to add that tab back. All right, so click too far to the right. All right, so the MAG 7, you can see traders were selling calls. This is kind of a reverse call peak, a call valley. Call buyers come in and also start selling puts. So initially they were buying puts and selling calls, and 1040 reversed higher. Started selling puts, and then a couple of hours later they started buying calls. So right now the NASDAQ traders are buying the dip. They are selling puts and buying calls in the MAG 7 stocks. All right, let's go to, and that was right around 1210. Let's go to NQ here. All right, so looking at the clues here in Bookmap, just like the S&P 500, CVD falling, cumulative volume delta, also sell stop orders helping to fuel the move lower. And remember, large traders were buying the weakness in the S&P 500, and they are selling it in the NASDAQ today. They were all three lines of the subchart moving lower in the same direction, and that is very bearish. So when large traders are moving with iceberg orders in the direction of price, that just helps to fuel that move lower. There's the reversal higher right around 1210 as traders started taking positive delta options positions in the MAG 7 stocks. All right, so speaking of MAG 7, let's take a look at some MAG 7 stocks, see what was driving price lower this morning. I'm going to start with Meta. Nice move lower, 10-point move lower in Meta this morning from 575 down to 565, and looks like down lower. Let's see what options traders are doing. Go to Meta. Note 565 is the hedge wall, 570 key gamma strike. So traders were selling calls this morning, driving price lower. And actually, starting around 1110, they did start selling some puts as price made it down to the hedge wall, 565 hedge wall, 1110. Traders start selling puts. And then price began to reverse higher as traders, call sellers, took their foot off the gas and eventually started buying a few calls. So right now for Meta, it looks like blue line and orange line are rising. Meta trying to reverse higher. Did find support around the 565 hedge wall and now trading above that level. Let's go back to Bookmap. No cumulative volume delta started rising around 1110. Price finally found support just above 564, just 1 point below the hedge wall, and absorption net level, and then now price moving higher. Back up to VWAP and this liquidity target at 569. That's the heat map and book map showing a history of limit orders in the order book. And those large levels, high levels of liquidity shown by the darker yellow and orange bands do act as a magnet for price. All right, that is Meta. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. Looks like NVIDIA is starting to recover. Let's go see what options traders are doing. I'm going to jump through real quick. Microsoft traders are buying puts, selling calls. Microsoft also helping to drive Mag 7 lower. Let's take a look at NASDAQ. So in the morning, traders were selling calls right around 945, 950 when the index reversed lower, the NASDAQ. That's when traders started buying puts. They were already, they resumed selling calls, buying puts in NVIDIA. That's when NASDAQ reversed lower, when the S&P 500 reversed lower. And then right around 1030, they took the foot off the gas. Price consolidated, and now they are selling puts, buying calls in NVIDIA, price moving higher. So move down lower in the morning, driven by put buyers, call sellers, took the foot off the gas, price consolidated. Now they are selling puts and buying calls, price moving higher. Let's go to Bookmap. So there's the move lower, consolidation, support at 132. Now price rising higher, and some aggressive buyers starting to come in. You can see all the large magenta volume dots, especially at this triple bottom here. All right, so that's NVIDIA. Let's take a look at Tesla. All right, so for Tesla, 340 is the key gamma strike. 337.50 is the put wall. Price moved, sliced right through that level. Let me tone down the volume dots just a little bit. All right, so very clear short here. Couple of tests of the 340 key gamma strike. And aggressive sellers come in. And straight drop down, all with aggressive sellers shown by the magenta volume dots. Let's see what options traders are doing. Let's go to Tesla. Let me just check something real quick. Go to Mag 7. All right, see this sharp drop lower and the Mag 7 signal. Right there, finding a bottom right around 1030 to 1040. Let's go to Tesla now. And you can see that this is where that sharp peak came from. or call valley in this case. That very notable sharp move down, crescendo down in Tesla. Traders were selling calls and abruptly started buying calls, taking advantage of the dip buyers coming in again. So the Mag 7 drop lower. Was the Tesla drop lower. You can see I just left the red arrow there. All right, back to Bookmap. So nice double top reversal at the 340 key gamma strike, and price moved lower very sharply. So if you bought puts, you'd had a good day. Finally, sellers are exhausted, small magenta volume dot. Some aggressive buyers started to come in as traders now are selling puts and buying calls, price trying to recover. All right, let's take a look at a couple of stocks in play, crypto-related stocks. Then we'll get back to the indexes. All right, so here's Coinbase. Pretty choppy day here in Coinbase. What I'm showing is correlation to Bitcoin futures. This is using the correlation tracker in Bookmap. And you can use this, you can show correlation with any instrument that you've subscribed to. So I did subscribe to Bitcoin futures. If you do track any of the Bitcoin exchanges, you could use the spot Bitcoin. I'm using Bitcoin futures. Let's see what options traders are doing in Coinbase today. Go back to Hero. Go to Coinbase. I'm going to shift over to the total signal, see if that provides any more clarity. A little bit. Kind of a choppy Hero signal. Peaks there. Hero signal makes lower highs, sharp drop lower. They take the foot off the gas. Let's go back to calls and puts. So most of that price action driven by calls. You can see the blue line, the put line is pretty flat, and calls definitely driving price. Call buyers, call sellers. Let's take a look at MicroStrategy. Pretty similar. Call buyers today. All right, so WLB, here's MicroStrategy. Let's see, we'll take a look in Bookmap. Then, yeah, I can show SMCI. Go to MicroStrategy. Also have the correlation tracker turned on. Looks like Bitcoin is mostly rising today, but pretty choppy sessions for both MicroStrategy and Coinbase. Let's go back to Hero. And overall today, traders are net taking positive delta positions. They are buying calls and selling puts. Call buyers much more aggressive today. All right, WRB wants to take a look at SMCI. Sure, we can do that. Very nice call peak here. Very nice bullish, bearish reversal signal. Flow alert right at the top of this call peak, signaling a potential, well, first of all, signaling significant options activity, also a potential reversal in hedging flow from positive delta to negative delta flow. That's exactly what happened. Traders showing a burst of call buying at the open, quickly reverses, call sellers, price moves lower. Now trading right around the 35 key gamma strike. That's this blue line right here. So price just slightly above the 35 key gamma strike. And price consolidating as the call sellers have taken the foot off the gas. All right, does anyone else have any stocks they want me to take a look at? We'll go back and check the indexes. Let's go back to trace, go back to delta pressure. Remember, I talked about the contour lines. Sloping down. Also in the blue buying support zone. So it looks like that SPX has reached up into a little bit of selling pressure, which is moving down. Let's go back to Hero. I'm going to shift back to the total signal, go at equities for a minute. All right, so equities signal continues to move higher. Actually, let me leave that arrow. Let's see what, well, I won't. Equity signal continues to move higher. And the index signal now still choppy, a little, always a little bit more noisy than the equity signal, but now has flattened out. Let's go check Bookmap. Go back to S&P 500. And H-Boy says HILT. Is that a stock? If so, I'm not familiar with that. All right, so let's zoom in on this. So the S&P 500 trading at a very narrow range. SPY combo one level on the lower end of the range. And the SPY 599 volatility trigger on the upper end of the range. Zoom back out a little bit. Note now, point of control. That's this purple line right here, has now moved down to right around the SPX 6000 level. So a zero DTE butterfly, SPX or SPY butterfly at 6,000 would have been a good, looks like a good trade today. Let's take a look. We'll take a quick look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ looks like still trying to move higher. Needs to make it over VWAP. Cumulative volume delta definitely moving higher now. Let's go back to Hero. Check NASDAQ. Moving pretty sharply higher. The NASDAQ index signal. Go to Mag 7. Also moving higher. Let me check. Let's take a look, one other look at Trace here. this case, I'm going to go to charm pressure. And what this can show is potential pinning levels. Zoom in just a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at this chart. So we know the S&P 500 is trading right around the 6,000 SPX key gamma strike. ES futures, also showing that on my chart in Bookmap. So let's take a look at this chart. First of all, over on the left, that is the strike with the largest positive gamma at 59.95. And note how this area between the red selling pressure above, blue buying support below, indicates a good potential pin right at that 59.95 level, just below the absolute gamma strike at 6,000. So based on the information that I have now, that looks like the most likely pin target. And that certainly makes sense. Let's go back and let's take a look at gamma. Strong positive gamma right around the absolute gamma strike. There is a pocket of negative gamma just above that. So if traders continue, the hero line is moving higher. Oops. Hero line moving higher. That's purple line right here. So if traders do continue to take positive delta positions and price moves up into that negative gamma zone, it could move quickly higher, maybe up to 6,020. That's SPX 6,020. Let's check Hero again. Go back to S&P 500. Still chopping around. S&P equities moving higher. So a little bit of a conflict in the hero signals there. But NASDAQ was moving higher. Now taking a little bit of a pullback there. Let's go to Mag 7. Moving higher, maybe slowing down a little bit. Back to Bookmap. NASDAQ also finding some resistance at VWAP. Back to the S&P 500. Still trading in that narrow range between the combo level before and the volatility trigger above. Looks like good for maybe 3-point scalps up and down around that level. And note point of control. Purple line there. Whoops. Purple line moved right down to the SPX 6,000 level. You can see the purple line right on top of the white dash line. And Suresh asked, how do you get those several tabs in Spotgamma? So let's go back. All right, so what I do, let's say I want to see another hero chart here. So I'm on the Mag 7 hero. Let's say I'm on S&P 500 index signal. Then I'll just right click here on hero, open link in new tab. You can open as many tabs as you want. As your computer will tolerate, I guess. So that is, now I can go to let's open that full screen. Let's go to equities. So now let's say I want a zoomed in view of equities. and the index signal. So now I don't have to jump back and forth. So I can just pick tabs. Equities, index. So just open link and do tab. That's all I do. Let's take a final look at trace. Just based on this, it looks like most likely pinning target again, right around 59.95. Zoom in just a little bit more. Back to Bookmap. All right, so now the question now is, does ES break down below this current trading range, below these combo levels, or does it bounce back? All right, everyone, my time is up. I want to thank you very much for watching. Thank you for your questions and comments. And for those of you who are watching at Discord, thank you very much for your support. That really helps me out, helps me to continue with this free stream. All right, everyone, thank you again. Thanks for joining me on Discord. Have a great holiday Thanksgiving. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks. Bye.